Hello everyone, today we'll be talking about the second Amane sister, Tsukasa Amane. Let's get started. Tsukasa Amane is a 17-year-old magical girl. She is 158 centimeters in height. She has dark brown hair and dark red eyes. Tsukasa comes from Kosho Ward in Kamihama City. Her soul gem, similar to her sister, is a red yin-yang necklace on her neck. Her weapon is a shinobu, which is a Japanese bamboo flute. This type of flute is used in Shinto music. Tsukaka's witch and doppel is Dee, and Tsukasa attends Koso Academy in the 11th grade. Tsukaka's wish was for her sister when they both became magical girls, as they did not want to hate each other anymore. We don't want to hate each other. Tsukaka's magical girl element is the light element, and her ability, which is her sister also has, is sound wave manipulation. Tsukaka's twin sister, Tsukasa hopes to liberate magical girls. Born into a family of traditional bamboo craftsmen, she wants the household to support her father and his apprentice. Though she is cheerful and has many friends, Tsukasa is the only one she can open up to. The doppel of disassociation. Its form is an aquarium. The master of this emotion will not bend or break to any situation or circumstance, but she will lose herself utterly in her other half. The only person who truly understands her, though, through this is the two are capable of serving their connection to the world outside. No matter the option or the two taken together in their maintained world, they can only trust each other's presence. No one else can understand them. The doppel shuts out any unknown values in order to keep its master's spirit stable, though doing so causes her senses of ethics to weaken. Tsukasa appears with her sister Tsukasa. The Mizaki Villa magical girls at the time, which was only Nacho, Araha, and Triano, and Felicia Mitsuki, who joins them after, go to defeat the Wasa of Misery Water. When Araha and Felicia drink the water and have their days count down by fate good luck, Kyoko Sakura is also involved in this. When going to the hideout of the Wasa of Misery Water, where it's being guarded by Wings of Magius members, two white feathers that are revealed to be Tsukasa and Tsukasa Amane, they do start as protagonists at the beginning, but become allies after the last battle of Act 1 in disband of the Wings of Magius to become the Kamihama Magi Union. In an abandoned museum, Mifio Aizusa tells Tsukasa and Tsukasa the rumor AI has disappeared and they need to be more careful. The Amanes apologize, claiming their actions were worthless. Mifio says that they did a good job on the website and won't blame them. Tsukasa wonders why their opponents are so fixated on rumors. Tsukasa says if they just left them alone, the victims will eventually be freed. Mifio says that Araha is looking for a younger sister and found a lead in the rumors. The Amanes are reminded of themselves when they didn't know each other. Alia Gray appears and asks what they were talking about. She says she's curious about their past and wishes, as she's let them off easily to tell her. She understands their flutes might become her favorite pigment if they don't say anything. The girls understand and begin to tell their story. A long time ago, Tsukasa was a far bustier than she was, doing errands and chores for her father's workshop. At school, after surprising lessons ended, Tsukasa would go to leave. It turns out she handles the family finances and grocery shopping. As Tsukasa begins to depart, a girl says she was waiting for Tsukaka's lessons to end so she can hang out. Tsukasa apologizes but says she has to go for errands. The girl says she's boring, but Tsukasa says she has to care for her father's live-in apprentices. The girl asks if that's something a kid should be doing, but Tsukasa says if she doesn't do it, and she won't have a place for herself. The girl says Tsukasa should run away, but Tsukasa says she can overcome anything with a smile. Tsukasa claims that in the workshop of the artisan ward, demanded the work while the woman kept house. This was the outdated tradition of her family's Amane bamboo workshop went by. As Tsukasa leaves to go get groceries, she admits she wanted to hang out too. After returning home, she prepares dinner and does laundry. She finds the apprentices have left laundry done in their pockets. She admits it makes her annoyed, but she smiles away. With the laundry done, Tsukasa prepares to do her homework. When her father and his apprentice arrive, Tsukasa says they came early. Her father says the apprentices were cutting so well, he decided to give them an early meal. When Tsukasa says that dinner isn't ready, her father says she should have foreseen that. Tsukasa thinks that no one told her anything. She can't meet all their whims. She still respects her father, but she asks him why he doesn't help around the house a little. When he insists it's a woman's job, Tsukasa says if that's why her mother left him. Her father says not to bring up that woman. One of the apprentices offers to help Tsukasa, but she says it has nothing to do with him. Tsukasa narrates that with all the chores she does, she sometimes loses sense of herself. When that happens, she plays a bamboo flute she received when she was little. The flute was her greatest source of relief since she didn't have time for friends. Tsukasa would go to the shrine to play her flute. One night, on the way to the shrine, she met a person she credits for saving her and reuniting her with Tsukasa. The person told her she should be careful. She claims that when the sky grows dark and you get too depressed, you'll be eaten by a witch. When Tsukasa expresses confusion, the girl tells her to cheer up. At the shrine, Tsukasa wonders about the meeting, but decides not to worry. Suddenly, she saw a person at the shrine who looked like herself. Tsukasa says this probably was the first time she met Tsukasa and the start of what led to their wishes. The next day, Tsukasa still thinks of the girl she saw at the shrine. The girl who invited Tsukasa to hang out asks if there's something on her mind. She says Tsukasa usually leaves right after school and is surprised to see her there. Tsukasa tells her about what she saw at the shrine and wonders if it was a ghost. The girl says it might be a doppelganger, and they say if you see a copy of yourself, you'll die. The girl insists it was a joke, but Tsukasa seemed to believe it. Tsukasa decides to go home, skipping Summery lessons. As she walks home, Tsukasa seriously considers her possible death and notes that she has to tell her father and the others where the emergency food is. Suddenly, she meets the girl that was on her way to the shrine. The girl says Tsukasa is looking just as down as she was before. She says she's concerned about her and says Tsukasa might be eaten by a witch if she worries too much. Tsukasa asks if she's being recruited for a cult. The girl says if that's what it sounds like, then there were no wishes and Tsukasa should forget it. In any case, the girl says Tsukasa shouldn't worry too much since it could affect her body as well. Tsukasa says if she could easily solve her problems, she wouldn't be worrying. The girl invites Tsukasa for tea, saying they could come up with an answer together. Tsukasa says she doesn't know who the girl is. The girl introduces herself as Kanagi Izumi. Tsukasa then says she doesn't have any money. Kanagi admits she only has enough money for juice in the vending machine. Tsukasa tells Kanagi about the girl she saw at the shrine, which Kanagi finds fascinating. She suggests Tsukasa go meet the girl at the shrine again, quoting an old image where there are 3 people in the world who look like you. Kanagi says if Tsukasa is going to die, she should go out fighting. She points out with all the housework she's done, Tsukasa is probably stronger than the average girl. Tsukasa says that's a strange way of accounting her, but decides to go to the shrine. Kanagi says that good charm and claims it's the best for people not to worry. At the shrine, Tsukasa looks at her feet out of fear. She then bumps into someone, which turns out to be the girl who looks like herself. The 2 of them start talking at the same time, asking the other not to kill them. Tsukasa decides to pull herself together and asks if the other girl's name is also Tsukasa Amane. The girl introduces us as Tsukasa Abilities. The girls are shocked by the amount of coincidences. Tsukasa and Tsukasa say why she comes to the shrine, and Tsukasa answers she goes when she is tired. Tsukasa says she does the same and is true for her. When she reveals she was named at the shrine, Tsukasa says she was also true for her. Tsukasa begins to wonder if Tsukasa really is her doppelganger. Tsukasa asks her what she came here to do, and they decide to answer on the count of 3. They say they were both there to play their flute. Convinced that the other was a doppelganger, the 2 girls tried to distract each other and then run away. However, they bumped into each other and dropped their flutes. The girls see both the flutes are the same except for one difference. Each flute had a half-moon shape, inscribed on the opposite direction from the other. Tsukasa notes she never understood the meaning of the shape until that moment, but Tsukasa and Tsukasa realize that their names contain the characters of moon, and they are twin sisters. Tsukasa explains that her mother is from Mizuna Ward, and her grandmother forbade her from entering the Ocean Artisan Ward. Tsukasa guessed they were being hidden from each other. The girls then started to talk about themselves. Tsukasa complains about how she has to clean, cook, and do laundry and manage money for her family. She says it's so old-fashioned and no one ever wants to help her out. She respects her father and understands he has difficult work and has to support the princess, but she doesn't see what that has to do with her. She says her father always says that's a woman's job and thinks there's a limit to how backward someone can be. Tsukasa also says even if she is invited to hang out, she can't go. And even if she discusses her problems, no one understands. Tsukasa says she understands and that they even have similar in that way. Tsukasa was the first person she felt could understand her. The girls plan to meet again in the future. Recognizing their parents tried to hide their friendship, the 2 recorded their contact information under pseudonyms. For Tsukasa, she recorded Tsukasa under whole full moon symbol for the symbol of the full moon. Tsukasa narrates that her father shouldn't have told her. While Tsukasa and Tsukasa were happy to talk to each other at first, they began to see different sides of themselves. In a restaurant, Tsukasa says Tsukasa about the tea she's drinking, but Tsukasa says her voice is too loud. Tsukasa apologizes and asks how much the tea costs. Tsukasa says it's 1,000 yen per cup, which shocks Tsukasa. Tsukasa thinks she started to grow tired of Tsuka's perfect manners and lack of flaws. Tsukasa then brings Tsukasa an example shop. Tsukasa says that for students like them, it's pearls before swine. Tsukasa starts to feel that Tsuka's attention to her appearance was like a boasting. Suddenly, one of Tsukasa classmates calls her out. She asks if Tsukasa is her sibling, but Tsukasa says she's just a relative. The girls say Tsukasa has a different feel than Tsukasa, which Tsukasa agrees with. Tsukasa says that when she saw Tsukasa talk with her acquaintances, she felt like she was being used as a foil. Tsukasa narrates that one more only met, and though more noticeable for differences to Tsukasa in highlight, Tsukasa admits she was just jealous, but at the time, her friendship with Tsukasa distorted it. One day, Tsukasa returns home and her father comments that she's been coming home late. Tsukasa says she made a friend who lives far away. Her father says it's nice she has a friend, and also that she should still finish her chores. He then asks if the girl is from Mizuno Ward. When a shocked Tsukasa answers yes, he suggests she should give up on the friendship because otherwise she'll be on the same road he was. Tsukasa says this shouldn't have anything to do with him and her mom, but her father says it does. He says Tsukasa's mother and himself couldn't bury their differences of their upbringings with just affection. He says if she wants to make friends from outside, she should think it more carefully, claiming that if their relationship wraps, it will break and won't be fixed again. Tsukasa narrates how her father's words hit her so close to home. One day, as the twins walked through the city, Tsukasa says to fancy places that interested her feelings of perfection. The twins tell each other there's something they need to ask. They start talking about their mental disaffections. Tsukasa says that Tsukasa is giving her a strange look while Tsukasa says Tsukasa is being mean. Tsukasa narrates how Tsukasa was fed up with how impolite she was. Tsukasa believed that Tsukasa didn't pay enough attention to her appearance and was a rough and violent person. The girls criticize each other, then argue. Tsukasa yells in how Tsukasa is always so concerned with formality. She says she should just take a chill pill and relax, as Tsukasa finds it satisfying to be around her. Tsukasa says that Tsukasa's idea of relaxation is vulgarity. She never asked her to pay for any of this, so at least Tsukasa could reform her manners. Tsukasa says Tsukasa's lifestyle and behavior is far from normal and says she never had friends if she's so formal at all times. Tsukasa says that Tsukasa's friends are only friends on the surface, since she doesn't tell them her true feelings. Tsukasa says that they can't understand what's going on though. Tsukasa says Tsukasa should understand she feels the same way with her grandmother and to deal with. Tsukasa says she has to deal with her father and his apprentice. The girls decide they don't want to see each other anymore and probably weren't twins. Tsukasa thinks her father was right. For a while, the girls stopped seeing each other. However, Tsukasa still had problems with her family. One day, Tsukasa's father yells at her for the month's expenses being over budget. One of the apprentices points out the vegetables have been expensive, but Tsukasa's father says she should have said something beforehand. The apprentice points out the budget log is balanced properly, but Tsukasa's father tells him to butt out. Tsukasa says they can do whatever they want and leaves. Tsukasa needs to play her flute again. but is worried that she'll meet Tsukasa if she goes to the shrine, so she decides to play near the lake. However, the flute fails to comfort her. Tsukasa admits that she wants to talk to Tsukasa again. She thinks her father was right, not being able to bury their differences, but feels she's going to die if it continues. She still wishes Tsukasa was there to help act on the outlet for her frustration. Suddenly, Tsukasa hears a voice in her head telling her she might as well die instead of being a slave. Tsukasa says that is a present she knows, the voice of a witch. The next thing Tsukasa remembers is waking up and collapsing in the witch's barrier. Kanagi is there in a magical girl outfit. Kanagi asks if Tsukasa is alright and says a witch tried to make her drill herself into a lake. Tsukasa doesn't remember any of it. Kanagi, presumably resembling Tsukasa's comments, says that witches were from the same religion and it was the monster instead. Tsukasa falls unconscious. The last thing she heard from Kanagi is saying, "I give up." Tsukasa dreams of how she always had to do things for her father and his apprentice, how they gave her unsuitable demands and made her life harder. In her dream, she tells her father to shut up and begs for someone to save her. She then sees Tsukasa, who says to take her hand. Tsukasa says Tsukasa is fine now and can let go. Tsukasa thinks it's nostalgic. When Tsukasa wakes up, she hears a voice revealed to be Mifuyu in Tsukasa's story. The voice says that when Tsukasa and Tsukasa were born, they were holding each other's hands. Tsukasa then hears Tsukasa's voice and thinks of her dream. She mentally apologizes to Tsukasa and thinks if they didn't accept each other in the way they did before, they can't survive. Tsukasa arrives at Tsukasa's room to talk to her. She suggested they throw everything from their past away and start a blank slate. Tsukasa thinks if they don't, they will be crushed by the adults. Tsukasa says she was thinking of the same thing, and they should start over from when they received their names from the shrine. The girls agree to become each other's sisters again. Tsukasa says they might end up hating each other, and the girls think their hearts might not be able to take it. When Tsukasa says of her father's words from earlier, Kyubei appears and says their pledge can be granted as a wish. The girls both wish for the same thing. I want us to never hate each other. Back in the present, the girls finish their story. Mifuyu says she was quite surprised when she came back to Tsukasa's room. Alia grunts to herself and leaves. Tsukasa asks if she didn't like it, and Tsukasa begs for forgiveness. Alia says they won't do anything to them. Their story was simply inspiration to make some artwork. The Amanes were relieved. Mifuyu figures they should go themselves. Tsukasa suggests that Tsukasa that they should play at the shrine on this way home, since it's been a while. Tsukasa agrees, and Tsukasa says she becomes and says whatever she plays her flute, she always by her side. No matter how long she shares at the city, is still a flute. Oh flute, what are you? A bridge connecting me to my distant sister. Tsukasa narrates that only allies are each other, and they will always be together. Although seemingly unrelated to their wish, Tsukasa and Tsukasa have the shared ability of sound wave manipulation, allowing them to generally enhance the volume and strength of sound and sound-based attacks, most commonly those of their flutes. The ability also allows them to amplify the range of a magical girl's telepathy, their own of that of another, allowing them to contact other magical girls well outside their usual range. This is likely possible because magical girl record and stabilize that message. Even non-telepathic ones can be broadcast to magical girls via radio waves. Her last name means heaven and sound, respectively, while her first name means moon and laughter, respectively. Fact 1. Tsukasa was event limited. Fact 2. The doppels names of Tsukasa and Tsukasa match up. They are different references to Tweedledum and Tweedledee from Alice in Wonderland. Fact 3. Tsukas's Japanese voice actor is Ai Uchida. She is known for playing such roles as Warrant Officer Yuri Miyazaki in Spaceship Battleship Yamamoto 2199, Io Nida in Devil Survivor 2, the animation, and Kaban in Kimono Friend series. Her English VA is Kaylee Mills, who you may know from Kugurugi as Runo Yomizuki, Alice Zuberg in Sword Art Online Alicization, and Kagari Izuriha in Blackrock Shooter. And now we close off on Tsukasa. Now explained, this will be the last of the main story magical girls. We will be moving on to the side story magical girls. Now, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. We will talk about Asuka Tatsuki.